Hey everybody, today we're going to be talking about food safety and sanitation, specifically about how to cool bulk foods like this pot of bone broth that I just finished, get it cooled down correctly. A lot of people tend to think you can just stick your food in a refrigerator and it is good to go. But the reality is this is about, I'm going to guess, I haven't stuck my thermometer in it yet, I'm going to guess this is about 160 degrees. And to take a pot that's 160 degrees and put it in your refrigerator is inherently dangerous. I mean, it's unbelievably dangerous. Because what's happening is the refrigerator has to work to cool this down. So what happens is this 160 degrees, 150 degrees in the refrigerator now raises the ambient temperature inside the refrigerator, thus putting the other foods in the refrigerator at risk, especially if you have high risk foods in there. So that brings me to the temperature danger zone. So what that is there's, obviously the refrigerator temperature is, optimal for, proper refrigeration is below 38 degrees, 32 to 38 degrees Fahrenheit. And when you're cooking food, the optimal temperature needs to be generally above 145. So that gives us a danger zone between 40 degrees and 140 Fahrenheit as a danger zone. Food should not be in that temperature range for more than 2 hours. A big pot like this sitting in the refrigerator will be like that for probably 5 or 6 hours. It just will not cool off fast enough. There are a number of things you can do to mitigate that. Like I work in the restaurant business, if you caught some of my earlier videos. So restaurants will use what they call ice paddles. It's like a big plastic stirring wand that's full of water that's frozen, and they'll put it in and they'll stir the soup and cool the soup off that way. Some places will use an ice bath, which is what I'm going to do. Another way that you can also get the food cooler quicker, especially if like tomato sauce and things you're cooking like that, is put them into shallower dishes and then put that in the refrigerator, because it's more surface area and less density if you use shallower dishes. So those are just some options. But at the end of the day, you really need to get the food out of the temperature danger zone. That is that 40 to 140, because especially in that like that 80 to 90 degree range, the bacteria that's in the food can actually multiply and double every 20 minutes, every 30 minutes. So that's pretty severe. That's why you hear, keep the food in the refrigerator and all that fun stuff. So this soup here, and I'm going to I have a thermometer in my hand. I'm going to take a temperature of this. Let's get you down there. And I guess just kind of hold it in. Don't want to drop it in. So I don't know if you can see this. I'm not sure if it's coming through or not, but that is 179 degrees, and that's not even on the burner. That has already been sifted, that's already been run through the cheesecloth, that's already been strained, so it's actually been, worked on, and it's sitting on a cold burner. So that is 179 degrees just sitting there. Now I have been puttering around in the kitchen a little bit, and so it's still that hot. So it's important we get that down to a cool temperature. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to set up an ice bath, and then we're going to see how fast this cools down. Because if I can get it down to even 50 degrees in a few minutes, then it's actually safe to put in a refrigerator, because then the refrigerator won't have to work as hard to get it down to below 40. So here we go. Let's go ahead and get this on an ice bath. As I'm reading this, it's already dropped over 30 degrees. This is my great cheat for this. This is obviously it's a creamer container that I washed and sanitized and filled with water and put in the freezer. And I go ahead and same thing as I just mentioned, just put that right in. It has dropped another 20 degrees. If you can see, you can already see the grease or the oils starting to not solidify, but come together as the temperature drops. It is now below 100 degrees. So in 10 minutes, because I'm doing this real time, in 10 minutes, this has dropped 78 degrees. We are now at 75, 76 degrees. So it's literally dropped 100 degrees in about 15-20 minutes. $70 degrees. As you can see, it's getting colder and colder. You can see the fats are starting to not solidify, but they're starting to pull together, which means we are doing exactly what needs to be done, and this is going beautifully. It took about a half hour, maybe 35 minutes, and we're down to 58 degrees. That is perfectly acceptable to put in the refrigerator now. Okay, so it has been about an hour and 10 minutes since we pulled the broth, well, we put the broth in the ice and, pulled it off the stove. So, couple of notes that you should be aware of when you put food, any kind of warm food in refrigerator, and just general refrigeration in general, is in general. Yeah, that made sense, Paul. But in general, refrigeration organization, if you will, does play a role in food safety. And now if you look, the pot is about an inch away from the wall, and then there's space behind it, and then of course space next to it. So the reason for that is airflow. You must have airflow in your refrigerator. So over here, you can, get away with it a little bit because, there's some space around the stuff. But at the end of the day, you do not want stuff jam-packed. I had to take a shelf out, so you do not want stuff jam-packed because that is just, prevents airflow. So get your food in there. When we pulled it out of the ice bath, this bone broth was, what was it, about 58 or 59, I said before. So now it's here. Any kind of liquids, anything that you can stir that you put in the refrigerator, you still need to go in and stir it a little bit for the first hour or two, because you want to eliminate any warm spots that are in there, and you want to distribute the cool, the warm, all that stuff. So what we're going to do is we are going to take the cover off, and you always want to put a cover on a soup in the refrigerator because you don't want any kind of cross-contamination and all that fun stuff. Just give it a quick stir. And then I'm going to get the thermometer and we're going to run another temp check. There we go. All right. So it looks like we are at, I don't know if it's coming up on the video. Like 54.5, 54.3. Looks like we leveled off at about 54.4, 54.3, something like that. So that's perfectly acceptable to go into the refrigerator. Now, so it's only been, like I said, an hour and 10 minutes since it's come off the stove. So we've already dropped it over 120 degrees. So that is exactly what you want to do for any food product in your life, I guess. So that's pretty much it. So I do want you to, or I do hope you got something from this. I think it's important that I share this information, and I'll probably do another video like this again in the future when I make something else, because I do think this is, something that needs to be shared, and not just for any kind of homesteading, but I think just food safety in general for anybody who's cooking in large quantities like this. So, and people, some people will be like, well, you're going to pressure can this, and that gets up at 240, 250 degrees. But the reality is, you want safe food handling every step of the way, and going into the canner, the food should be 100% safe. And just because it gets to 240, 250 degrees doesn't mean there are bacteria that do survive those temperatures. So you want to make sure you're being safe every step of the way. And this is one of the tools now in your arsenal to help you maintain safe food handling. So if you have any questions about anything that we've shown in this video, it's a very quick video. I wasn't really planning on doing it this way, but I absolutely wanted to document it and share this for you and with you. If you know of anybody that needs this information or could benefit from this, please share it with them. And if they have any questions or comments, they can always leave a comment below as well. So if you have any feedback for me, I would love to hear it. And that's about it. So this is Two Bears signing out, and we thank you very much for joining us on this quick impromptu video. Take care now.